Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another session of Peeking Over the Fence with me, Rich Landy. This is for financial advisors or their teams who might be considering their next transition opportunity. So again, welcome. We are Bridgemark Strategies, an independent recruiting. We're a consulting company for the financial advisors. We have helped well over 1,000 advisors the past decade to re-affiliate with new firms. So today what I'd like to talk to you about is the E&O insurance policy, any bonus or transition bonus, their notes or employee agreements or letters of intent. These things we want to consider. So number one, we're going to talk about the E&O policy itself. Number two, we're going to talk a little bit around the bonus and the notes themselves. And finally, I'd like to talk to you about seeking out legal counsel, experienced attorneys to go through your contracts. But before we get to that, let's just talk about E&O policies. You might be very surprised to learn, not yourself, but how many advisors really don't pay attention to E&O. They just know they're paying X amount per month and they've got some kind of insurance coverage, and that's okay until it's not okay. So, first things we want to make sure of is, what are your coverage limits? What is actually covered? Do you know there is a deductible? You might be surprised about the deductibles. And for some outside business activities or businesses that are related to your investment side, are they actually covered? So let's just jump right into this. Really, your coverage limits are going to be up to you, but we want to talk to the broker dealers about what their insurance is. Then you're going to ask the question about deductibles, right? So here's an example. Excuse me. About 5 years ago, working with an advisor who actually brought it to our attention. We're talking to a broker dealer, and this advisor had just asked the question, hey, look, I currently have $1 million policy and my deductible's $25,000 out of pocket if I have an event. What would be your insurance coverage? Well, the response was, our limit's $1.5 million per event and it's $105,000 deductible. That's right, $105,000 deductible. That's what we call a deal killer. We moved on immediately. But more important to that is what is actually covered. You may be doing some outside business activities, legal, but they're not actually covered on your E&O, and you need to know that. You may have an accounting firm, which is very popular, that's plugged in or bolted into your asset management. Well, in that case, just make sure the E&O contract is covering that accounting side too. And if it's not, what else do you need to cover any of the outside business activities? Let's just jump right on into number two, which are those bonuses that you receive. So as you join a firm, you may get a check to join them up front, or maybe there's a back-end bonus. That's going to require an agreement as well, and it's going to be a financial note. And whether they're 5 years, 7 years, 10, it's not important what the length of the note is. It's what's going to happen in the event of a catastrophic, God forbid, maybe a death, maybe an illness to where you can no longer work. Or what if the team you're with simply breaks up after 2 or 3 years into the contract? There's a lot of money out there, and who is responsible for the balances? Who absorbs the balances in these situations? And not to mention that money, but the taxes that are still going to be owed on your bonus going forward. So you really want to pull that out and identify it before you sign any agreements, which brings us to number three. If the firm you're talking to does not have internal legal counsel for you to work with, then you really need to seek out an experienced attorney, whether it's a FINRA, an SEC, or a contract attorney, or one that does it all. You need them to look at your agreements. I highly encourage it. Put them on retainer. They're the ones who are going to go through and identify any of those red flags, or maybe there's a landmine that can avoid, you want to avoid these things. And again, I have to say, very quickly, always keep copies of your agreements with you at all times. So again, I hope this was a little bit helpful. Couple ideas around E&O. Number two, your bonuses or notes or employee agreements. And number three, really do seek out legal advice. I hope this was helpful. If you want to learn more, maybe you have a general question, or hey, look, it's an opportunity for you to peek over your own fence. No obligation, no cost to do so. I look forward to hearing from you. Got all my contact information. That being said, I wish each and every one of you an awesome week.